Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast for today. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Adele Guillot. I am the founder and executive director of the Theology of the Body community of Acadiana, and we have a very distinguished guest today with us, Miss Brenda Desarmo. Hey, Brenda.
Hey, bonjour.
Hey, comment ça va?
Ça va bien, merci.
Great. Let me tell you a little bit why we're so excited about the program today. We're going to be talking. We're going to be bringing in some history and some documents. I like that kind of stuff, and I believe that we have something that's going to be shared that our audience will be talking about for a long time, and certainly they are going to share this. This is so interesting because we have to admit that there's so much stuff going on in the world, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but there's a lot of good stuff as well. And we want to put you in touch and put a context into where all this stuff is coming from. And we happen to know something that you might be interested in today. Brenda, what you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I think we'll be bringing some truth and honesty to what the immorality that is going on in our world today. And it's been going on for some time, and it's gotten worse than ever. And I have the facts to prove it with the girls that are coming to us who are pregnant out of wedlock.
Okay, so we're going to do some fact checking later on. You got your facts?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to check them. Okay, good. All right, we're coming up on the 54th anniversary, that is on July the 25th, of a famous Catholic writing, and that's going to be the topic of our conversation today. The document is called Humanae Vitae, which is Latin for of human life, and that's something that Brenda knows a lot about. And we want to see about some of the things that were said in the document that might be in some ways prophetic as we look at the condition of the world as it is right now. So let me give you a little bit of context about Humanae Vitae and why it was even necessitated, why it was written in the first place. Okay, so put on your little think cap, and we're going back in time a little bit and try to picture this, okay? So it's around the mid to late 1880s. So that's what, 100, 150 so years ago. The term eugenics was coined as a response to concern over, guess what? Global population overflow. They were beginning to get concerned. Somebody thought that there were so many people that we were going to run out of food and resources. And so some people got the idea and used certain outlets to send out information and to use sort of scare tactics of people, oh no, the sky's falling, we're not going to have enough food, and there's too many people. And this kind of caught on in some of the circles, kind of like, this woke stuff is. And one of the main, or the most famous, I should say, eugenicists was Adolf Hitler. And most of us are familiar what he did during World War II and how it led to his attempt to exterminate a certain group of people. So I think we know, Brenda, that he was not the only eugenicist. There's another one that has to do, and she was an American.
Yes.
Who's that?
Margaret Sanger.
What did she do?
She was the founder of Planned Parenthood, and it should be called Planned Unparenthood.
Unparent, no parents.
Yes.
Don't be a parent.
Because that's what she started, was the idea that we can control God's plan for humanity, and it's deeply rooted where contraception came into being, abortion was, and all of that has been the result of Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood, and they had a big microphone, we have a little microphone, but I have a feeling we got the truth, and I have a feeling that we're gonna, with the help perhaps of the Holy Spirit, no doubt, get it out on the airwaves, and it's gonna. We're gonna do a number on them.
Yeah, the truth doesn't need a big microphone.
No, it's gonna go. It's gonna roll like a flood of water. That'll be great. I can't wait personally, and I don't think you can either. But anyway, let's go back to our putting things in context. Okay, so in 1917, all right, everybody, y'all still got your little thinking caps on. All right, here we go. So in 1917, this is what, I don't know, 20, 30 years after this idea of eugenesis, right? Okay, so 1917, Fatima, Portugal, that's in Europe, okay, the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to 3 little children on several occasions. And to one of those, she gave a number of messages to these children, but to one of them in particular, her name was Lucia, she told her that there was going to be a huge battle with Satan over marriage and the family. Voila. And so guess what? Your pal, Margaret Sanger? No, not your pal. Pardon me, not her. Not your pal. Your nemesis. Anyway, so Margaret Sanger, guess what year she started her diabolical work?
1917.
1917. And so I'm not sure. Can you fill us in a little bit on what her plan was? What was she going on? You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. She wanted to, what?
Well, she wanted to eliminate that. She believed that women should be free from the burdens of children and housekeeping, and of course advocating sexual freedom, engaging in sex outside of marriage, just have sex with anyone, anywhere, anytime, and of course
no strings attached.
No strings attached, and we can see it in our moral society today.
Absolutely. So there were some radical thinking people, right? Looks like they were cooking up these ideas.
Right.
They were getting it their own. Okay, so all right. So here these people come onto the public stage, and they interrupt what had been happening for over 2,000 years. Every religion, all the major religions of the whole world, taught the immorality of contraception up until right around this time. You see, and so since all of the religions embraced it and all of the people who were contained in those religions, they pretty much followed it. They all agreed. They knew that it was immoral to tamper with the transmission of human life. So that all changed. That changed. Guess when? 1930. The Anglican Church held what was called, or what is known as, the Lambeth Conference. This was in England. And they decided that contraception could be used in certain circumstances, they said, after prayerful consideration. Yeah. Okay. But they were breaking with the 2,000-year history of all religions who preached the immorality of contraception, dealing with something that's God's prerogative, okay? So contraception, they said, was unnatural, it was illicit, and it could not be used up until 1930. And then after 1930, when the Anglican Church began to permit it, all the other religions, like a bunch of dominoes, you can picture that, they all started falling for it, okay? So one after the other, all of the denominations, Protestant, the Buddhists, the Hindus, all of those, all of the Christian churches.
Protestants,
Catholics.
Catholics.
Not Catholics yet. Hang on. We're getting to that. So every religion began to permit this except the Catholic Church. All right, now remember, our topic today is the document Humanae Vitae.
Right.
So I'm setting all this up so that people will understand where this document came from and why it's so important. Okay, so approximately 30 years would go by after 1930, so use your math numbers there. Okay, 1930 plus 30, that's easy. What's that? That's around 1960, okay? And the pressure was mounting, and People were looking into this and trying to figure out what they were going to do about it. And in 1960, the FDA approved the contraceptive pill. And it hit the market, and people just thought it's the best thing since sliced bread, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so we know that as the pill was put on the market and people were buying it in massive numbers, starting first with those non-Catholics, they were using it, and then the Catholic people are looking at this and saying, wait a minute, what about us? You know, basically. So let me just recap real quick, because we've been going, we're almost at 100 years now, so let me let me remind you, okay? There's a lot that had been building up. The eugenics movement was claiming that they needed to free women. That was the Margaret Sanger part. Free women by reducing the population. Population bomb, blah, blah, blah. Too many people. Okay, the Blessed Virgin Mary had appeared. She told us to prepare for a battle, and that using certain chemicals, the U.S. government approved, thank you very much, that buying contraceptives and using them was legal for American citizens, okay? So the Catholic people, turned to their Pope, their leader, and said, we need direction. Tell us all about this. It's on the headlines every day. It's in the news all the time. What about it? And so he called a commission together. He had biologists, scientists, doctors, married couples, priests, theologians, the whole group, and he put them on the task of researching and reporting back to him, which they did. Now, not everybody on that commission agreed with everybody on the commission. And so the Pope took it to prayer, and what he came up with after, diligently praying for the good of the people in God's will, the answer to the use of contraception was no. No. N-O. No. And that set off a firestorm of rebellion. He said no in the document called Humanae Vitae. It's an encyclical. And he said that, just coming to some random decision about this, man is composite of body and soul. We're not just dealing body parts here. What we're doing is we got to consider the spiritual realm as well as the natural physical realm of man and his eternal destiny. And what he did at that time, in this document, and it's not very long, he issued some warnings. These were to sort of back up what it was that he felt or knew as the shepherd of the people that was likely to happen or inevitably was going to happen. And I'm going to ask you about this. So let's just see real quick. I'm quoting from paragraph 17 in Humanae Vitae. If anybody's out there looking it up, you can find it exactly word for word as he stated it. I'm going to kind of summarize it and briefly mention it. He said, if we widely would adopt contraceptive methods of all sorts, the first thing that he warned us about would there would be an increase of marital infidelity. Okay? He also said there would be a general lowering of moral standards.
Happening.
Hello. Okay, wait, I'm coming. You go get your turn. I've been hogging the phone here. Okay, all right. He said a lowering of moral standards, but especially among the young. Oopsie, that's our children, okay? Because they needed incentives because of human weakness. We're all weak, okay? And he said that it was an evil thing to make it easy for them to break the natural law. I have a feeling that's kind of what you're dealing with. Okay, just a minute. One or two more things real quick, and then I'm turning it over to you. He gives us, he said there's an alarm that's ringing in his head. Listen to this. that a man who grows accustomed to the use of contraceptive methods may forget the reverence due to a woman. Now, there's a word you don't hear anymore. Reverence due to a woman, and would reduce her to being a mere instrument for his own satisfaction and desires, and not as his precious partner that God created her to be for him. Oopsie daisy. Yep. And then he goes on to warn us about the dangers of the government taking over the authority to enforce on people contraceptive methods that they think are the most effective. Anybody, China, remember the one-child rule? Yeah? Okay. And you know what? I'm going to slow this thing down. I'm getting tired of talking, and I'm turning it over to you, Brenda, because we need to fact check. Was this guy right? Was he actually prophetic in his statements? What is your experience on the ground? You've been dealing with this for a long time. How do you see his prophecies manifesting themselves?
He was 100% correct.
Yep.
I have been dealing with it for 22 years now, and of course, it has been the moral doctrine of the and the magisterium of the church against marriage is to be a respected moral practice, and that's been the magisterium of the church since the beginning of time.
Right.
And also, what we have to keep in mind is, we have abortion clinics all over. We have women getting pregnant outside of marriage. And
that's been going on.
Yes,
Yeah.
And now abortion, well, it was just the 73 decision of abortion, legalizing abortion has just been overturned.
Hello.
But for the last 50 years, it was legal, and we have been seeing girls who want abortions or who don't want their child. And the contraceptive mentality, abortion is deeply rooted in the contraceptive mentality. That's what started it all. If you can, contraception is saying, I don't want a child, I'm not going to have a child, and I'm going to take a pill so that I don't get pregnant. Well, with that mentality, if your pill, and no contraception is 100% effective.
True.
So, if you forget to take the pill one day out of the month, if the condom breaks, all these forms of artificial contraception are never 100% effective. And I know that because I deal with it every day.
Every day.
So the contraceptive mentality has led us to abortion, and abortion is about as ungodly as it's the culture of death. We are destroying humanity. We have killed over 63 million babies in the last 50 years.
Legally.
And, legalizing abortion or unlegalizing it is not going to change the woman if we don't get to the root of the problem, which is chaste relationships, not to engage in marriage, in sex, outside of the sacredness of marriage between a man and a woman who have committed for life to be with each other and respect each other and raise children. That is God's plan, not mine. It is God's plan for humanity, the marriage of a man and a woman. And we have lost it now, and this is 2022, and like I said, we have destroyed millions of babies, and I think that through this podcast and other methods that we can bring the truth to our people so that they will understand that the real solution to all of this is chastity, chaste relationships.
So
it's the truth. God said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The truth is very simple. It's not rocket science. But our children have fallen for the lie.
That's it.
And we need to be disciples. And that's what we're doing here today.
We're being disciples, and we're bringing it. And I do know that Pope St. John Paul, and we're going to talk about him in just a second, he said in a different document that he wrote when he was Pope called The Splendor of Truth. And he said that when we normalize our fallen behavior, and that's what you're talking about. We normalize it. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's living with everybody. Mm-hmm. Nobody's getting married. Okay? When we normalize our fallen behavior, we will never become who God intended us to be. We are greater than what's going on right now. We've lost sight of it. You can't have God in school and all those kinds of things. We've lost our way. And we need to get back on track about who we are, whose we are, and how we're supposed to live our lives to be in good relationship with God, who created us and gave us this whole world to live in as a gift.
That's
okay?
Right.
So there is some good news, and yes, of course, overturning Roe v. Wade and all of that, we're taking steps in the right direction, and certainly this podcast and our Theology of the Body community of Acadiana that is, putting these podcasts on here. What I'd like to say right now is that this attempt or this need, this hunger for the truth, we have someone who addressed this for us. What is the truth here? Everything is so topsy-turvy, upside down, going in every direction. Nobody knows. We've lost our way. We're lost. Okay. However, there is someone who came in 5 years after Roe v. Wade. So what is that? Roe v. Wade, 1973. Mm-hmm. 5 years later, 1978, Pope John Paul II was elected the Pope. Okay? And he almost immediately began offering us lessons that he had prepared that actually enhance or give the total vision that Pope Paul had said was needed in order to put contraception and the whole of humanity into context. We can't just put these different parts of us in boxes. We're not just bits and pieces. We're an entity. We're body and soul. And what our bodies do affects our souls. And what comes out of our souls gives us the drive to do what we do in our bodies. We've got to get those in sync. We've got to make them work together for our good and for the good of humanity. And so what John Paul did very early in his pontificate, he began giving us homilies. He used a homily format, but the collection of the homilies is put together, and he named them Man and Woman, He created them. Okay? And taken all together, there's 129 homilies, or let's say chapters, in this story that he gives us that is the true and total vision of man as intended by God. Okay? And so as he gives us these lessons, he takes us on this journey into who we are, where we came from. There was a time in the garden before Adam and Eve sinned that there was bliss. Mm-hmm. There was bliss, this man and this woman together. Okay? That was God's original plan. And what the theology of the body does for us, it brings us back there, shows us what that was, shows us how we've fallen from that, the mess we've created, which you experience every single day, and most of us in some way, shape, or form have also experienced in different ways, maybe in our family. But here we are, and so now, using this beautiful teaching, the theology of the body, man and woman, he created them, we can return to the truth. And that's what we want to get out over here, okay?
That's right. And that's what theology of the body is, the truth.
It's the truth.
It's based on God's plan for humanity.
God's plan for humanity. And guess what? You said we haven't addressed the root cause no matter how many marches. I remember you told me this when you and I first began to collaborate on this. You said, look, Adele, we've marched marches, we've prayed rosaries, we've had bills enacted in the legislature, and yes, we did save babies and we helped moms, many, 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 and I'm so grateful for that. But the number of crisis pregnancies never goes down.
No, they go up.
They go up. They
And
are
are still
up,
going
and
up.
they're going to continue to go up. And you said to me, I remember this, you said the reason is because we've never addressed the root of the problem. And you said that earlier.
That's
we
right.
got to address the root. And the root is the truth. And that people have bought the lie. So we got to straighten that out.
And the truth is chaste relationships.
Chase relationships,
It's, like
bottom
I
line.
said,
That's God's plan.
Yes, and because now that the evil abortion Roe v. Wade decision has been overturned and is now not accepted, that means our situation, our clients here at the Women's Center of Lafayette and the Disarmo Foundation, it already is happening. We are seeing more clients than ever before because now
sure.
they think that abortion is not legal, so they can't consider that. So now they are coming here to see how they can get help and how. But the bottom of the line still remains the same. Yes, I'm dealing with the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The solution is don't engage in sex until you are married.
That's the solution, and that's the truth.
The truth.
That's the truth. And so as the need for help increases, and you're doing a great job, but you need more resources
Absolutely.
for the increasing numbers. I mean, and it's only going to go up until we get people to understand
The
that
truth.
that their behavior need not be this. This is what's bringing us down. And the Pope in 1968 warned us.
That's theology of the body.
And there we go. And the theology of the body is the answer to this.
And he said that.
He did.
He said it was the antidote to the culture of death.
The theology of the body is the antidote. So we've been poisoned, this lie, we bought it. The snake bit us,
That's
okay?
right.
We got it. Okay, so, and we are in bad shape. So in order to reverse the poison, we have to have the antidote. And the antidote is the truth, and it happens to be contained in the theology of the body, which is nothing really new. It's a study of the scriptures. That's what
right.
it is. God's plan for man and
For
woman
humanity.
since the very beginning. So, you know what? I think we're probably on overtime. I don't know. Maybe so. We're good.
I'm just thinking, if the culture of death started with contraception, then it can end with chastity.
Bingo.
And theology of the body, of course, is the answer to the both.
Both.
We are in the middle of hopefully overturning the idea that there's the chaste relationships are not possible. Of course they are.
Of
That's
course they're
the
possible.
beginning.
Yes.
Like I said,
Yes.
if the culture of death started with contraception, then the culture of death can end without contraception. We will be leading chaste lives.
Chase lives. Actually, very interestingly, okay, I'd like to close with this. It's right on target. From the Gospel of Life from St. John Paul, he says, and this is paragraph 97 of the Gospel of Life, if anybody's looking that one up. He says there is a need for education about the value of life from its very origins. It is an illusion to think that we can build a true culture of human life if we do not help the young to accept and experience sexuality and love and the whole of life according to their true meaning and their close interconnection. Yes, we have to get the word out to them, and He says that sexuality as a gift of self in love, that's where we have to go. And that's what the theology of the body focuses on, that we have to learn that human sexuality was created by God for a woman to give herself as a gift to a man, and the man to receive the woman as a gift, not an object.
In the sacredness
In
of
the
marriage.
sacredness of marriage. It's a total gift of self where you say, I love you so much that I'm willing to commit my whole life to you and raise children that
That's
are
right.
permanent and,
Yes.
and give them a stable home. Yes.
Yes.
And that's what he says that we need to do.